Hello and welcome everyone. Today, most of the newspapers have reported India and New Zealand is going to restart their FTA negotiation. FTA stands for Free Trade Agreement. So today we are going to discuss different types of trade agreement in this session. Okay, so let's start. So when we talk about trade agreements, there are various type of trade agreements. The basic and you can say that the fundamental type of trade agreement is preferential trade agreement, PTA, preferential trade agreement. Under this kind of the agreement, two nations or more than two nations are going to decide on how many number of goods we are going to decrease tariff. Tariffs are going to decrease. For example, here India and here Afghanistan. Fine. So India and Afghanistan agreed to reduce tariff on these number of goods. On these number of goods, both countries have decided to decrease tariff. When Afghanistan is going to export certain goods to India, those certain goods which are negotiated, then India will decrease. India will decrease tariff. India will decrease tariff. Similarly, when India is going to export certain goods to Afghanistan, Afghanistan will reduce the tariff, the normal tariff. So these goods are called as positive list. Positive list means on those goods on whom we are going to reduce the tariff. So this is called preferential trade agreement, PTA. When both countries are going to have more confidence on trade and commerce, then they may go for FTA, Free Trade Agreement. Free Trade Agreement. Under this Free Trade Agreement, for example, this time I am going to take an example of India and Sri Lanka. Fine. So India and Sri Lanka. So India and Sri Lanka are going to sign FTA. Now this time what happened? This time there are certain goods from Indian side, from certain goods from Indian sides and certain goods from Sri Lankan side. They will be out of the preview of reduced tariff. They are out of the preview of tariff, and this is called as negative list. What it means that? It means that except these goods, all other goods will come under reduced tariff. So basic difference between FTA and PTA, preferential trade agreement. It is comprised of positive list, it is comprised of negative list. Negative list means except these goods. Except these goods, all goods comes under decreased tariff. Fine? Under decreased tariff. Positive list means only these goods who are under where? Who are under positive list, decreased tariff will be applicable. Reduced tariff will be applicable. Understood? So PTA and FTA. So maybe country will start with PTA, then gradually it will go for what? FTA. Example, India, Sri Lanka. So India Sri Lanka started with PTA, then gradually they went for what? They went for FTA. So PTA and FTA. Sometimes country do hesitate to move FTA. They are having this kind of fear कि if I will allow other countries good at lower tariff, then might be our domestic industries are going to suffer. For example, in today's The Hindu newspaper, certain people, especially who trade in apples, who grow apples and trade in apples from Jammu and Kashmir, they have fear. They have fear that if India and US is going to sign a free trade agreement, then this free trade agreement is going to cause reduced income for apple growers in Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir. Because US is one of the largest exporter of apple. And if apple from USA will be available in India at lower price, then there is a chance the apple growers in India, they are going to have less income. Fine. So this is why sometimes, because of this fear, countries hesitate to go for a full-fledged free trade agreement. But they also know that there are certain benefits. So sometimes, rather than going for signing an FTA, they will go for early harvest agreement. Early harvest agreement. So, under early harvest agreement, countries, before going to sign a full-fledged free trade agreement, they will go for early harvest agreement and they will sign reduced tariff agreement on certain goods only. On certain goods. And if the positive outcome will come, then they will go for full-fledged FTA. Case in point, India, Australia, early harvest agreement. So they have went for early harvest agreement. On certain goods, India reduced the tariff which are coming from Australia. Certain goods which are coming from India to Australia, Australia have reduced the tariff. And after seeing the good positive results, both sides are now negotiating for full-fledged free trade agreement. So it is PTA. If confidence is built, then they will go for FTA. And if there is an issue, then they will prefer to go for what? They will prefer to go for early harvest agreement. And from early harvest agreement, they will go for free trade agreement. Okay? So, PTA. Then it will move towards where? FTA. And in between, early harvest agreement. EHS stands for early harvest agreement. So under FTA, generally, countries are going to go for reduced tariff on goods. They will go for reduced tariff on goods. But apart from goods, now they want to go for services, investments, and other areas of trade and commerce. Then they have two options. Either they can go for CECA or CEPA. CECA stands for Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. Fine. Whereas CECA stands for Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. So they look almost same, but there is a significant difference. Listen carefully. CECA. Here, not only goods, but there will be agreement on services, investments, and other area of trade and commerce. Okay? But in CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, all these plus regulatory cooperation. Regulatory cooperation. So regulatory cooperation means what? Both countries are having certain regulatory bodies. For example, in India, Securities and Exchange Board of India is there. So both countries are going to cooperate at the level of entry in the market, capital market. All such kind of the cooperation is also going to happen under CEPA. I'll give an example so it will be very clear for you. For example, in the case of CECA, we have an agreement with Malaysia. India and Malaysia have CECA, whereas India and UAE, United States of Emirates, United Arab Emirates. So United Arab Emirates, UAE and India have CEPA. And that is why when India has established their gift city at Gujarat. So at Gujarat gift city, there are certain regulatory provisions which allow trade through UAE in the capital market. Whereas this provision is not there in the case of Malaysia. For the investment purpose, for the services cooperation, that is with the Malaysia. But special concessions or special cooperation in the area of regulatory framework is available with UAE, not available with Malaysia. So this is how CECA and CEPA are different. You can say that CEPA is more comprehensive in the nature in comparison to CECA. Fine. So PTA, FTA. Now from FTA, either you can go for CECA or you can go for what? You can go for CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. So that depends upon what kind of the relationship we do have with the country. In the case of CEPA, India have CEPA with South Korea, Japan, and now with UAE. Okay. Whereas in the case of CECA, Malaysia, Singapore, India have Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. Okay. Now, let's move further. For your understanding, suppose this is PTA. This is PTA. Whereas this is FTA. Fine? FTA. CECA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. So we'll reach to the level of Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Imagine that India and Japan, or India and Sri Lanka, whatever you want to imagine, you can imagine. So we are considering the case of India and Japan. So India and Japan agreed. First they went for what? FTA, and from FTA they went for what? CEPA. Now both countries have decided that we will deploy a common tariff. India and Japan is going to deploy a common tariff if we are going to allow goods or services from any other country. So if a good is entering India and Japan from South Korea, both countries are going to have common tariff. Then this kind of the agreement is known as custom union. Why custom union? Because we have created a union where the common custom duties will be applicable for import and exports of goods. So this allow country to bargain better collectively. So suppose if a country in Europe, if they are going to create a custom union, so they can bargain collectively with any other country. So for better collective bargaining ability, generally certain geographically contiguous regions like the country who are sharing the borders, they can go for what? They can go for custom union. And apart from the custom union, if they agreed not only common tariff, but they will also allow entry and exit of goods in that area. Entry and exit of goods for the production purpose. From one country to another country, goods are moving freely. For example, from France to Portugal, France to Germany, goods are moving freely for the production purpose. Fine. Then it is called common market. Common market. Fine. Common market. And now they agreed not only have lowest tariff, but cooperation in investment, services. They went for what? They went for cooperation in the regulations. Then they created custom union. They went for common market. Now from common market, they are going to decide their monetary policy, fiscal policy combinedly. Now they are cooperating on the basis of their exchange rate also. Cooperating on the basis of exchange rate, common fiscal policy and common monetary policy. Then this is called as economic union. And the extreme level in the economic union, when they decided to have a common currency. Fine. Only one part of the world, that is Europe. So 16 countries of Europe, they have decided to have a even common currency under this system. Under this system of economic union, they have decided to go for common currency. And that common currency zone is known as Eurozone. So like Eurozone, GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council, is also in talks to have a common currency. But because of many geopolitical things, they are not getting agreed, but they have initiated the talks for having a common currency like Eurozone. Fine. I have a question for you. Comment and let me know where this GCC Council exists and how many countries are in GCC Council. Comment. Fine. I hope you have understood the different types of trade agreement and you also understood the idea of early harvest agreement. If you want to know certain kind of the terms, terminologies and concepts, please let me know in the comments. I will make a specific video for you on your demand. Thank you.
కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్ సంబంధించి ప్రత్యేకంగా సివిల్ సర్వీసెస్ ఎగ్జామ్ సంబంధించి ఏ ఆప్షన్ చూస్ చేసుకోవాలి, ప్రిపరేషన్ ఎప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ చేయాలి, ఏ బుక్స్ రిఫర్ చేయాలి, ఇలాంటి డౌట్స్ ఉంటే CSB/IAS అకాడమీని కాంటాక్ట్ అవ్వచ్చు. దీనికి సంబంధించి నా పర్సనల్ అపాయింట్మెంట్ ఈ వీడియో పైన డిస్ప్లే అవుతున్న కాంటాక్ట్ నెంబర్కి ఫోన్ చేసి తీసుకోవచ్చు.